After years of flight experience, the Boeing 747 has been acclaimed from all quarters. Passengers, pilots, ground crews, engineers, all recognized an impressive step forward in jet transport technology. The magnitude of the achievement is apparent when you consider the changes that have taken place in just 40 short years. In the 1930s, the Boeing Model 247 was the ultimate in commercial air travel. The 247 established a new standard of comfort for its 10 passengers. A far cry from the amenities accepted as routine by air travelers today, though the aim is the same: comfort. In the 30s, the 247 cut the time to cross the United States to less than 1 day. The 747 makes the same flight in 5 hours, but the aim is the same: to save time. Dramatic changes are evident in the engines of the aircraft. The 247's Pratt & Whitney engines produced about 550 horsepower. The 747's Pratt & Whitneys develop approximately 45,000 pounds of thrust each, or roughly 20,000 horsepower at takeoff. Progress is most evident in the cockpit. In the days of the 247, pilots often had to check landmarks to stay on course. In fact, railroad tracks were called the iron compass, since pilots were often guided by them. The 747 pilot has at his command modern equipment for navigation, including the latest advances of science: a dual-unit inertial navigation system, or INS. The INS employs a digital computer to assure error-free, precise navigation, independent of ground aids and not affected by weather. The system is programmed by the pilot. He feeds the computer navigational information, including latitude and longitude of departure and destination points and en route checkpoints. The INS does the rest, guiding the pilot or directing the autopilot, navigating the flight with complete accuracy. 2 INS units are standard equipment on the 747, providing system redundancy or backup capability. This duplication of vital systems is also evident in the advanced technique used to automatically land the 747. 2 autopilot systems are installed to give assurance of reliable operation when the pilot elects to make an automatic landing. Larger instruments and expanded scales provide improved legibility and greater accuracy. The advanced high-lift system of the 747 wing makes possible lower speeds at takeoff and landing, and the use of airports currently serving the smaller jet transports. At touchdown, another type of backup system is evident. The main landing gear of the 747 has 4 separate 4-wheel struts. The craft can be landed normally with any one strut retracted, or in certain circumstances, with 2 retracted, a capability that is unique among commercial jet transports. The effectiveness of system redundancy has been proven again and again. Typical of additional duplication of vital systems throughout the 747 are 2 complete braking systems, individual brakes and anti-skid controls on each of the 16 wheels, 6 electrical power generators. Any 2 can supply the essential power required by the airplane. There are 4 hydraulic systems. There are 4 separately activated elevators instead of the usual 2. There are 3 air conditioning systems. These were among the many systems proven during flight testing. The 747 flight test program was the most exhaustive ever conducted by Boeing. 5 747s were used simultaneously for 11 months in the program, which was completed before the aircraft entered commercial service. Test aircraft were subjected to extreme flight conditions. Hard landing tests. If a plane touches down at a vertical speed of more than 2 feet per second, passengers would consider it a hard landing. This test is a 10 feet per second landing. Crosswind landing tests. The ease with which the airplane is controlled is a natural function of good design. Braking tests, performed with and without the anti-skid system and on dry and wet surfaces. For this takeoff test of the 747 at maximum allowable weight, one engine was intentionally shut down, and the 747 continued its steady climb on just 3 engines. Tests performed on the ground were as rigorous as those in flight. Static testing established the maximum strength of the airframe by subjecting it to loads much greater than would ever be experienced in normal flight. In one test, the wing was flexed 29 feet from its normal position. Fatigue testing verifies the long-life design of the airplane structure. A production airframe is mechanically cycled through simulations of normal airline service operations. In this testing, the effects of 20 years of airline service were accomplished in just 2 years. Testing to these extremes is not required by governmental agencies, but was done at Boeing's option as an additional measure of structural integrity. Successful culmination of this extensive test program was effectively summed up by Mr. Arvin Basnight, Director, Western Region, Federal Aviation Administration, at the 747 certification ceremonies.
As a result of this effort, which included some 1,500 hours of test flying, we are convinced this airplane meets or exceeds the standards for safety evolved in civil aviation history. We therefore recommend the Boeing 747 receive the FAA type certificate.
But the ultimate proof of the effort, the design, engineering, building, is a thing called airworthiness, a word that for the pilot means ease of handling and responsiveness. 747 captains, most experienced in the industry, are extremely enthusiastic about the excellent flying qualities of this aircraft. And the opinion of the pilot carries real meaning. For the airlines, airworthiness means flight-proven reliability. The 747 carried more than 12 million passengers in just the first year and a half of service. For the passenger, airworthiness is a host of items that all add up to a feeling of security and well-being. Such things as wider doorways and more of them for easier entrance and exit. Roam-around room in aisles that are 10% wider than on previous jets. Convenient overhead storage for carry-on items. Greater headroom. And seats that are wider than on any previous commercial transport. A variety of in-flight entertainment and refreshments. A smoother, more stable ride. These are the visible manifestations of the airlines and the manufacturer's deep-felt concern for excellence. And every passenger benefits, even without being aware of it.